Good morning, Josh. Welcome into the clinic this morning. How are you doing right off the bat?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. So before we get too far into our session this morning, I just want to go over the informed consent form that you filled out at the front desk.
Oh yeah.
I want to know if you had any questions right off the bat before we go over some more details about it.
Can you just tell me the basics?
Sure. Yeah. So basics is what we call limits of confidentiality. Basically, most of the things that you say to me in our session today will be kept between us, but there are a couple things that I'm a mandatory reporter for. So anything that you report as far as self-harm, suicidal ideations, I'll have to report. If you have any reports of abuse to children or the elderly, I'll need to file a report for that as well. If you make any claims that you want to harm other people, I'm obligated to inform those people to the best of my ability for their safety and protection. If you disclose any illegal activities to me that warrant disclosure to the law enforcement, I'll have to report that as well. And then in the event that a judge orders me to turn over the files that we collect and build from our session through a subpoena process, I'm mandated to report those as well. So those are the main limits of confidentiality.
Okay.
Everything else that you say will stay between us. Respecting your privacy and confidentiality is a very important process for us to build trust. Like I said, I'm not going to share your information with anybody. During the process of our session, I might make some notes. Those notes are going to be for my reference, kind of help me stay on top of what we talk about, and then after I use the notes to build the online client note, I'll shred the paper copy that I have in the office with us.
Okay, makes sense.
So, like I said, that's limits of confidentiality. Some of the other things on the informed consent form that we talked about, or that you signed, we're going to go over, are some of the risks to therapy. Some of those are during the therapeutic process. We might go over some things that are difficult for you to talk about. They might bring up some deep resolved emotions that you have. Just want to get that out front, that it's not an easy process, obviously, but a necessary process. Going over the brief note that I got that you gave to the front desk when you filled in your request for the session, I anticipate we can make some very good headway in about 8 to 10 sessions of about an hour, 55 minutes to an hour. I'll let you know kind of where the progress is throughout the time that we're working together, and if we need to extend, I have no problem doing that. It'll just be kind of dependent on where we're at throughout the process.
Okay.
So general idea of what our sessions will look like. This is not a typical session. It's kind of like we call it an intake session, kind of gauge where we're at.
Okay.
A typical session, like I said, about 55 minutes. We might have some homework from the session before that I've asked you to complete. We'll go over that during the session, and then we'll also do check-ins, work on some skills that you can use for yourself and connection with other people.
Okay.
And then just before we get too far in, I have on my note here, but I just need to verify your full name.
Yeah, Josh Rebel.
Okay. Date of birth?
4/20/97.
Sure. And then you're currently still first lieutenant?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And then after the session, are you familiar with the MHS Genesis system?
Yep.
Okay. So with MHS Genesis, our client notes get put into there.
Okay.
You're able to review everything that I put in the system. I say everything. I don't verbatim fill in the client note with our whole session as a script. Basically, kind of like how I do my written notes. It's more for us to keep track of progress and just keep like a rolling log of what we talked about.
Okay.
So with everything that I just talked about, I know it's a lot of information to get off on the front end, on the admin side. Do you have any additional questions for like the informed consent process, limits of confidentiality, anything with the therapy session?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Well, if there's no initial questions from you, I'd like to just start off with kind of my introduction, so you know a little bit about me. My full name is Kevin Korthuis. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I've been practicing for a couple of years now in this clinic. I went to the University of Kentucky where I got my education through. So anything that you have for questions about my qualifications that come up throughout the process, if you want to go over that, we can, but it's just a very brief introduction for me.
Okay.
So I guess we can kick things off. Kind of in a couple sentences, what are the things that are going on in your life that brings you into the clinic today?
Yeah, I'm a nutrition student over at the Army's nutrition program through Baylor. I guess I've been experiencing a lot of stress and worry lately, coupled with like anxiety. So.
Okay. Is there anything that you've noticed that kind of kicks off the stress and anxiety?
It's just like a lot of stress with like homework and like quizzes and tests. You know, it's a lot of stuff you have to memorize and
Sure.
really like put into like practice on like quizzes and tests. Homework's pretty stressful. Then I get home, and then my fiance and I, you know, we have to do all of our like meal prep stuff, and then she comes home late sometimes because she works as a nurse, and then does 12-hour shifts, and then it's like hard to find a balance of like spending time with her and studying, and then like cooking,
Sure.
and like, you know, preparing for like whatever's the next day and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like a lot going on academically.
Yeah.
What's the class schedule like? How much do you have to devote to being in class?
Yeah,
and homework?
I think it's Monday through Friday. It's 8 to 5 basically, and then and then you're stuck in school all day. You know, lunch break obviously, but you know.
Sure. Okay, so looking at the stress and anxiety that you've been feeling, as far as like frequency wise, is this like a constant? Like how often are you feeling the stress and anxiety?
Yeah, I'd say it pretty much just comes up like when I'm studying, because I realize like how much pressure there is to do all this stuff at once. And then I think the other part that I have to contend with is like just like time management. And then like when I get into the test or the quiz, you know, sometimes because you're so stressed and worried while you're studying, or like stressed and worried while you're taking the quiz, you kind of just like blank out and stuff like that. And
Sure.
you kind of like don't do as well as you should have, and then you recall the stuff later after the fact. So
Okay, and then is the stress and anxiety centered around while you're performing school events, or is it?
I would say it's like amplified at school,
Okay.
but then like the pressure of doing everything at home also like is like a different like sphere of stress and worry that I deal with.
Okay, kind of two different areas that are
Yeah,
causing it.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay, and then I guess help me get a better understanding from a scale of 1, no stress and anxiety at all,
Yep.
to 10 where you feel like you can't even maybe function with how much stress and anxiety. Where is the kind of your average?
Probably like a 5.
5.
Yeah, still able to function, still able to do like day-to-day things and stuff like that. But I think sometimes I just get nervous and in my head about like the school and stuff like that.
Okay, and then is 5 kind of that max, or are there been experiences?
I
in
think
the past
like
where
the
you-
worst I've been at was like a 6 or a 7 when I like
Okay.
you know performed poorly on a exam one time.
Sure.
That's pretty much it.
Okay. And then you kind of mentioned it a little bit, but what are some of the other like daily impacts that you're feeling from the stress and anxiety when it?
Yeah, I mean, like I get home and then I have to, you know, walk the dog, feed the dog, kind of thing. That takes up time.
Sure.
It is nice to do it because that is a good time where I de-stress and decompress, you know, because I'm away from everything. But then at the same time, it also adds like an extra thing to do. And that's after school. Then I get home, and then it's like, you know, I have to make dinner or I have to like study and stuff like that, and that just kind of, I guess, like compiles into one big like worry kind of thing.
Sure.
And then
Yeah, maybe feel like you don't have enough hours in the day
Yeah.
to manage
Yeah.
all these competing requirements.
Right.
Okay. Prior to getting into your nutrition program here, did you experience any of this stress and anxiety to like the same level, or?
Yeah, I mean, I was a normal officer before I got to the school program. So I was a finance officer.
Okay.
It's way more laid back in the sense that like your day-to-day life is pretty much self-explanatory. Like once you get home, there's nothing else extra to do. So
Mhm.
you kind of just go home and then you're done until the next work day. So I think that was a big reason why it was easier, was because you got home and then it was done.
Sure.
And then you just didn't think about work until the next day when you got there.
Okay, it wasn't necessarily following you back
Yeah,
to the house,
right.
so to speak. Okay, well, if you were experiencing it at work in the past, maybe did you have any skills or like maybe coping mechanisms that would be beneficial at that time that you've been able to implement
I like
in
to,
the past?
yeah, I like to just sometimes like separate from the issue, I guess. So if
Okay.
it's like a annoying person, I like, or like a meeting or something, I'll stay for that, and then I'll like leave and go get like a snack from the shop at or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I guess kind of while we're still on this topic of impacts for your daily stuff,
Yeah.
have you noticed any weight fluctuation one way or the other? while you're in the
No,
course?
nothing out of the ordinary. No.
Okay, good. And then any impacts to your sleep habits? I know you said you got a lot on the plate. But
Yeah, I would say sleep's gotten like worse.
Okay.
In the sense that like I sleep maybe like 5 hours a day, but it's not so much I'm staying up because something's keeping me up. It's just I'm staying up because I'm doing stuff. And then
Okay.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like I'm not staying up like with anxiety or worry. It's more like I have to finish this and then I go to sleep and then I wake up early to go work out and stuff like that. So
Okay. I guess while it's fresh on my mind,
Yeah.
while you're dealing with the stress and worry, you haven't had any thoughts of like self-harm, anything like
no,
that?
no,
No. Okay, no thoughts of suicide?
no.
No. What about thoughts of hurting anyone else, hurting others?
Nope.
No. Okay, that's good to hear. One more check-in for on the physical side.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any other impacts physically? Any like tightness in your chest, stomach aches, any kind of like physical things like that?
Not really. I think I just get fatigued really easily. Like
Okay.
I come home and just constantly fatigued. Nothing like in the chest or like no like knots in my stomach or anything like that.
Sure.
Still eating fine and everything like that, so that's pretty
Okay.
good.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, no, nothing. Just tired all the time, and then just feeling that sense of like, kind of like something like is on your shoulders, but
Sure. Yeah, so it sounds like a lot of pressure with
Yeah.
all the competing requirements that we talked about and
Yeah.
the studying. I imagine that with the accelerated program, there's a lot of back-to-back tests and assignments
Yeah,
and
yeah,
things like
that's a
that.
big
So
part,
it's a
yeah.
lot to deal with. I want to shift focus just a little bit and get into your home life. You said your fiance is currently working as well.
yeah.
What's the interaction when you two are at home? Do you guys have overlapping schedules?
Sometimes, yeah. It just
Okay.
depends on when she's scheduled for work.
Sure. And then kind of walk me through kind of what a normal time at home looks like.
Like when
For you
she's
guys.
working, or like
Just
when she
like
comes
maybe
home,
like a
or-
weekday and a weekend.
Oh, okay.
walk me
Yeah, I
through.
mean, I guess kind of just wake up and then we make breakfast, and then if we're not like super busy, then we'll go like for a walk, or we go like hang out, do something like a hobby. Normally, if it's like a weekend, we go do like one hobby thing together in
Okay.
order to like decompress.
Sure.
Sometimes that looks like watching a movie, or going to a restaurant, or shopping, or like shooting guns. We both like to go shoot guns, so we go to
Nice.
the gun range. Yeah, and then grocery shopping is a big thing too, because we both meal prep for the week. So
So I think it might be safe to say that you're using some of those separation techniques that you picked
Yeah.
up in your old role. Maybe there's not as frequent
Yeah.
right now, which kind of maybe is compiling. some
yeah,
of
it
the
does
stress
help
and-
to sometimes separate from the issue,
Sure.
in the sense that like you're not constantly just bombarded with stuff. Like you go away from a bit and come back, and it kind of gives you a breath of fresh air.
Mhm. Okay. Any like relationship issues, like disagreements or fighting or anything? That's
Not
occurring?
super frequently, not just basic stuff like who's walking the dog, or who's
Sure.
cleaning, or who's cooking, but it's never goes past like 5 minutes. So
Okay, no, that's good. That's good. Okay. Just doing this. So we got you some of your strengths down. It's good that you have found the time. I know carving out time for yourself can be difficult, especially when you're adding another person into the mix,
Yeah.
like your fiance. So I know you spoke about doing things together. Do you do anything for yourself, like individually?
Oh yeah. Especially when she's at work. That's often like me going on the walks or lifting. That's a big pastime of mine.
Okay.
Or like playing video games with some of my old friends and stuff like that. Yeah.
Sure. How long have you been in the gym?
A few years now.
Few years?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you get what kind of feelings are you getting from your workouts? Are they more like a decompression, or are you like going there as one of those separation techniques to kind of?
I mainly just go because we kind of have to maintain level fitness,
Sure.
and then I'm trying to, just like look better for myself and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's not really like a way for me to like separate, or I don't like work out to the point where I'm like, super exhausted or anything like that to like distract myself. I just work out to work out.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that sounds good. Okay. So with everything that we've kind of covered today,
Yeah.
it sounds like I said before when we in the beginning of the session, we kind of talked about that 8 to 10 session
Yeah.
to help manage and give you some of the skills, maybe some time management, some better skills than not necessarily avoidance from the problem, but some healthier coping mechanisms to help keep the stress and the worry that you have with your program at bay.
Okay.
I think
I would
10
like
sessions
that.
on the calendar would be perfect.
Yeah.
Are you thinking you can do once a week? I know with your schedule, it sounds like you're fairly busy. We also have the option to do virtual appointments.
I think once a week probably would be okay. Virtual
Okay.
might be helpful for like lunchtime or something like that.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see, 1 time a week. With the option of virtual,
Yep.
do you think that'll be your primary method? You,
Probably.
if it works out better.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm gonna take that. Okay, and then I know time management is only one thing for coming to the appointments, but
Yeah.
you don't see any other things that might keep you from attending the appointments. It's very important that if it's scheduled, that you're able to communicate if you're not going to make it, but very important that you
Yeah.
attend these appointments.
I think I should be able to. I think
Okay, like
like
no
the
issues with
only
you.
exception, is if we have something come up, but at that point I could just, call reschedule or
Sure.
something.
Yeah, I know a lot of, maybe not so much the students, but a lot of individuals sometimes have trouble with their leadership,
Yeah.
like releasing them. So I just wanted
Right.
I always like to check because try to keep these appointments available and accessible.
Yeah.
So just kind of wrap things over from my notes quick. So it sounds like stress and worry are your biggest concerns, and we have
Yeah.
plenty of skills programs, different things around post, outside of session.
Okay.
And then our main focus will be just to get you the skills that can help you manage and hopefully alleviate a lot of the stress and worry. I can't guarantee all of it, but
Yeah.
we'll get you the skills you need to, and then
Perfect.
got you down for once a week for the next couple weeks. If we need to bump out, like if you have a heavy week,
Yeah.
we can definitely skip a week and go every other, or just kind of feel it out. I know it can be very, very taxing to come in and start working through your issues. So,
Yeah.
if there's no other questions that you have of me at the moment,
No.
any concerns?
No.
No? Okay. With that, then you can just stop by the front desk and we'll get you on the calendar from here on out.
Okay. Awesome. Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
Appreciate it.
Yep.